Hola, minasan! Welcome back for the first ever attempt at reading manga. Gonna read One Piece. I don't even know why I spelled it as Once Piece. um, there we go. Let me fix that up. There we go. Not to be confused with Juan Peace, about a Hispanic name Juan looking for his peace so he can reclaim his territory. No, we're talking about One Piece here. Uh, the famed pirate story by Eiichiro Oda. Uh, a classic, still running to this day. The manga is 1,097 chapters in. The episodes, I believe, is at 1,087. 1,087 episodes. Still churning in millions upon millions of readers. A successful live action series. All kinds of memorabilia and hobby stuff, like the soundtrack here, the best album, the One Piece best album, and the One Piece card game, which is actually gained a lot of steam in my neck of the woods here, especially with Bandai spotting up an official One Piece game store in Edgewater, New Jersey. It's crazy. So yeah, that's how big the One Piece has gotten. That's how big One Piece has gotten all these years. Um, so, in terms of having read the manga, I had Shonen Jump um, uh, magazine when they first started off the first release back in around, was it 2003, 2004? And I didn't bring the Shonen just because they about stacked this high. But I bought the first year of Shonen Jump, and I got to read some of the chapters. I think it was like the first 12 chapters of One Piece, and I have long since forgotten the whole thing. I tried watching the anime, but for kids. If you all know the story of Four Kids, then you'll understand. But eventually, I fell too far behind. I was like, I'll figure it out, and I just kept kicking the can down the road along the way with the manga and the anime. But now, the manga is available on on the internet, and I'm gonna make this is gonna be my first attempt. This is gonna be a trial run for those of you watching to do this. I have no idea what's gonna happen post post show regarding the ramifications and such. So I would suggest you have your fingers crossed that I can keep going with this, but don't put any high hopes, high expectations that this can continue, because it really hinges on YouTube and its wonky algorithm. Let's put it at that. So if you understand what I'm saying, then you know the situation here. So I can only cross my fingers and hope for the best. Um, that this video can stay up. If it doesn't, it's all right. Saying now we know. We gave it a try, and saying move on. We move forward because with something else. Because I don't want to lose this channel. I'm not afraid to say it. I don't want to lose this channel. If you understand, So I'm not gonna waste too much time. Let's get this going. I hope y'all are doing good and having a good day. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. So we're gonna see. Oh, I just realized. All right, hold on. Sorry about that. Here I am. Here we go. Whoops. Okay, there we go. So, sorry about that. Like I said, this is the first time, first go. So, I'll keep this up. I will keep this up, just um, just for the fun of it. rare opportunity to see a behind the scenes thing. All right. So let's see what we could do here. This is One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, Chapter 1. Romance Dawn. And there he sat on his knees, two guards side by side, staring at each other, their spears pointed downward in the form of an X. His name was Gold Roger, the king of the pirates. He had achieved it all. Wealth, fame, and power had all been his. Not surprisingly, the final words he spoke before they lopped off his head inspired adventurers throughout the world to sail the seas. My treasure. Why, it's where I left it, he said with a smirk. It's yours if you can find it, but you'll have to search the whole world. And as the crowd roared, the sound of a snap from two blades caused his head to roll onto the stage. The world is about to witness a great era of piracy. Chapter 1, Romance Dawn, the Dawn of Adventure. In a small harbor village where a road rolls through, the windmills spinning and the cows grazing, there was a ship docked at the port. It was 1 year ago. A pirate ship made the village its base. The wind blows from the east as the flag flapped in the wind. And standing on top of the headpiece of the ship was a kid looking down upon the men on the deck. Hey Luffy, what are you up to now? And the village is at peace. And there stood Luffy with knife in hand, his teeth wide open, large and as big as a plate, his shirt reading anchor. He said, I've had it with you guys. Now you'll have to take me seriously. This is how tough I am. The villager boy, Monkey D. Luffy, stands tall. The Straw Hat Man laughed. Ha ha ha. Get it over with, whatever it is. To which his friend said, what's that pup up to now? And suddenly, the kid shanked his knife right into his cheek with a chunk. And with a loud scream, no! The crowd screamed, ah! Ah! Luffy screamed. You idiot, said the Straw Hat Man. What'd you do that for? Yeah! As the scream continued on. Later, back in the village, where everyone walked and swept the ground, there was a loud scream, a toast to Luffy's courage and to our great voyage. The Straw Hat Man laughed and laughed with all his crew, every single one of them, each saying, har har har, drink up, grog grog grog, more grog. Hey, that's my meat. Not anymore, I'm gonna eat it. Hey, stop fighting, you'll spoil our fun. And they continue to jug on to the beer and eat all that is plentiful. To which Luffy said, it didn't hurt one bit. And the Straw Hat Man replied, liar, that was a foolish thing to do. I'm not the least bit afraid of getting hurt. Take me with you on your next voyage, said Luffy. I want to be a pirate too. To which the Straw Hat Man laughs. You, a pirate? Impossible. Ha 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 ha. Luffy, do you know why we call you Anchor? Because you can't swim. You just sink. What good is a pirate who can't swim? He was the pirate captain, red-haired Shanks, sitting at the stool with a spoon in hand and a hearty laugh. But if I don't fall overboard, said Luffy, then it doesn't matter if I'm an anchor, and I'm a strong fighter. I've been training. He throws his fist. My punch is as powerful as a pistol. Pow. Ed, a pistol, eh? Said Shanks. Is that so? Are you doubting me? To which the entire crew laughs once more and says, Calm down, Luffy. Let's just have a good time. Yeah, pirates always have a good time. The sea is fast, and there's lots of islands to explore. And best of all, pirates have freedom. To which Luffy screams, Wow! And his face lit up with a smile. Shanks said, You guys stop filling his head with crazy ideas. He looked back with a glare. But it's true, the pirate said, right? Hey, come on, Captain. Let's take the lad with us just this once. Aye. To which Luffy replies, Yay! And Shanks says, Okay, but one of you will have to stay behind. And the crowd laughs once more. Sorry, laddie, you've just been breached. Let's drink. And Luffy says, Hey, I thought you guys were on my side. His eyes twitched. You're just too young, kid, Shanks said. Maybe in 10 years I'll give you a chance. He points with the spoon. Captain Shanks, I'm telling you, I'm not a little kid. Luffy fumed and stomped his feet. Don't get upset now. Here, have some milk. He passes over to Luffy, and Luffy grabs the glass and drinks it. Oh boy, thanks. And they all laugh at him once more. See, a real pirate will never drink milk, said Shanks. To which Luffy replies, That was a dirty trick. I'm getting tired of this. I even stabbed myself in the face so you take me with you, Luffy said, facing away from Shanks. Luffy, Shanks said, lighting up his cigarette. The captain's just doing what's best for everyone. Oh, sorry. Wrong character. Luffy, a mysterious man lights up his cigarette. The captain's just doing what's best for everyone. How do you figure, Mr. First Mate? Said Luffy. The first mate said, The safety of the entire crew and the ship rests on his shoulders. He flicks the match off. Being a pirate isn't all fun and games, you know. And with a puff, he continues. There's lots of duties like pillaging, hostage taking, heavy drinking, and swimming. And the captain knows all about the dangers of the sea too. It can kill you in 1,000 ways. It's not that he wants to crush your dream of becoming a pirate. Well, Luffy said, I don't believe it. Shanks just likes to make me look dumb. To which Shanks looked back at Luffy, chuckling with a little har har har. Hey, Anchor. Luffy replies, I told you. A young woman approaches. Captain Shanks, I'm glad to see you and your crew are enjoying yourselves. Oh boy, Shanks said. I just love making fun of this kid. He leans back onto the counter. Maybe the lad's got a point, said the first mate. Approaching them with a keg of beer was Makino, proprietor of the tavern. She stood with the do-rag on her head and a vest made of checkerboard. Luffy, would you like to eat something? Would you like something to eat? To which Luffy replied, Yeah, just put it on my treasure tab. Huh. Shanks, with a smile, says, Treasure tab? Look, boy, don't try to swindle the lady. Luffy, with utensils in hand, a fork and a knife. I'm gonna become a pirate, find lots of treasure, and then I'll come back and pay her. To which Makino laughs. Ha ha ha. We'll celebrate together when you return. Ha ha ha. Luffy laughs. Hee hee. And as Shanks and Luffy both eat together, Shanks spoke. Yeah, kid. Munch munch. Chump chump. How much longer will you stay at this village? Let's see. We've been using this village as our base for a year, Shanks said, sliding the spoon on top of his plate. After 2 or 3 more voyages, we'll leave here for good and head north. With one big chomp, Luffy replied, I see. And with food in his mouth, he says, 3 more trips, eh? Makino just stood there with a grimace on her face. Luffy speaks again. I'm gonna learn how to swim by the time you leave. Shanks replies, that's good, kid. Do whatever you want. And then a loud kick on the door occurred, with a loud slam. And each footstep went click-a-clack. Make way for the scourge of the mountains. All the pirates looked in his direction. He had a big smirk on his face and a cool jacket to boot. So you call yourselves pirates, eh? First time I've seen pirates. You look like a sorry lot to me. And Shanks' crew just stared right back at him in total silence. And a big chomp of meat. Luffy just sitting there eating the weird thing in his hand. The pirate arrived, and with his fingers planted onto the counter, it caught her attention. And Shanks jerked his head back with the bottle in hand. We're mountain bandits, he said. Oh, don't wet yourselves. We're not here to bust up the place. Just sell us 10 barrels of grog, and we'll endure only the bare minimum. His name was Higama the Bear, leader of the mountain bandits. He stood nice and calm, expecting to be given what he demanded. I'm sorry, Makino said. We just ran out of liquor. That's strange. What are all these pirates drinking? Fruit juice? Makino's reply. It's true. I just served the last of it. Shanks then intervened. I feel kinda guilty. I guess we drank up all the liquor. Sorry about that. Shanks leans the bottle of liquor towards Higama, offering him one. Why don't you have this? It's still unopened. Higama just looks at it. And he throws a punch right onto Shanks. The sound of a tink-tink. The glass shattered, and Luffy quickly covered his face. Makina gasped. The mountain crew smirked. The pirate crew just stared back with not even a single inch. And Luffy took another chomp on whatever it is that he's eating. Higama said, What do you take me for? You can't make a fool out of me. His fist aimed right at Shanks as he dripped of alcohol down his shirt. What good is one bottle of grog? Oh my, Shanks said, staring at the liquor dripping off his shirt. What a mess. Yeah, look at this, Higama said, raising a wanted poster of 8 million berry. My head's worth 8 million berries. I'm a wanted man. I've killed 56 people, mostly fools like you. Watch yourself, he leaned in closely, if you're fond of breathing. And his crew says, if you're smart, you'll sail away from here, so I never see you again. Shanks proceeds to pick up the glass. Sorry about this mess, Makino. Give me a rag and I'll clean it up. He continued picking up the glass. Don't worry about it, Makino said. As Higama stared at Shanks, he began to draw his blade, and he swung very easily, crashing everything that was on the counter. With a loud crash. Now with the plain food all spilled over the counter and onto Shanks, he just stared him down. So you like to clean, Higama said. That ought to keep you busy for a while. Higama begins to walk away as Shanks raises his arm up. Farewell, Higama said. Cowards. And they left the entire bar. No, Grog, that's an outrage. Let's go to another village, the crew said, as the townspeople cower in fear around the corner, hoping to not draw their attention. Captain, are you okay? said the crew. Are you hurt? Makino said as she knelt before Shanks, checking on him. I'm fine, Shanks said. No harm done, with his head low. Phew, he said with relief. And the pirates begin to laugh again. Ha ha ha, Captain. He got you good. Shanks laughs even louder. Ha 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 ha. And takes his hat off. You think it's funny? Luffy said. Huh? Everyone's attention pointed towards the kid. He made you look like a weakling, yelled Luffy. Why didn't you fight him? Sure, they outnumbered you, and maybe they look pretty good, but what kind of man lets himself be treated like that, then laughs about it? You're a disgrace to all pirates. Shanks went silent. And then he spoke. When you grow up, maybe you'll understand, kid. He puts his hat back on. He just got some grog on me, that's all. Needless killing doesn't make you a man. And then Luffy proceeds to walk away, to which Shanks grabbed his arm. Hey, where you going? To go find a real role model, Luffy said. And then his arm stretched out, going boing. And every single crew member spit out their alcohol. Hey, Luffy said. What? When the crowd screamed. And with his teeth gritted down, Shanks spoke. His arm stretching. Does this mean, did he? He could have, the crew said simultaneously. What's wrong with me? Luffy screamed in absolute terror. It's not here. One of the crewmates opened up and looked inside the little treasure chest. Huh? The entire crew screamed out. The gum fruit we took from that enemy ship. Luffy, said the crewman. You didn't eat that fruit, did you? Yeah, Luffy said. I ate it for dessert. It didn't taste all that great, though. Shanks immediately got his hands on Luffy's face and yelled, That was the gum fruit! The fruit of the devil! It's one of the secret treasures of the sea! If you eat it, your entire body becomes like rubber and you'll never be able to swim for the rest of your life! And suddenly, the gum fruit made Luffy's jaw drop to the ground, literally. What? Ah! To which Shanks replies, You idiot! And the birds flew into the sky. The cow mooed, the windmill rolled, and Luffy walked down the lone street with a big smile on his face to a store called Fishmonger. Hee hee! Luffy had the big smile. Hey, Mr. Fishmonger, give me some fish. Fishmonger spoke. Hey, rubber boy, why are you in such a good mood lately? The pirates set to sail without you today, you know. Luffy smiled continuously in front of the store as the crowd went about their business on the city street. And you won't be able to swim for the rest of your life. Doesn't matter, Luffy said. If I sink like an anchor, then I'll just be a pirate that never falls overboard. I'm glad I ate the gum devil fruit, Luffy said, stretching his cheeks across with a boing. Look at what I can do. Huh. Man with a weird hat said. You think being gawked at because you're a freak is a great thing? Well, this village doesn't need any more idiots, sonny. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. The mayor spoke. Blah, 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 blah. For the last time, Luffy, I won't allow you to become a pirate. It make the village look bad. Now, the captain's not such a bad fellow, but you stay away from those pirates. To which Luffy plugged his ears with his fingers and stuck his tongue out with a bleh. At Party's bar, Luffy sat at the counter before Makino, and she spoke. The pirates have been out at sea for a long time. You miss them, Luffy? To which Luffy replied, after the way those mountain bandits humiliated them, not at all. I really misjudged those guys. He looked directly into the glass. I thought they were brave and tough, but they're really just a bunch of whips. Makino spoke, cleaning the glass in her hand. Are you sure about that? Maybe sometimes it takes more courage not to fight. Luffy put the glass on his lips, resting his chin on the counter. You just wouldn't understand, Makino. A real man has to stand up for himself no matter what. Makino replies, Is that right? I guess I don't understand. That's right, you don't. And the door opened, Make way for the terror of the Highlands. Luffy turns his head back. Makino looks up. To which Luffy says, "What?" Higama returns, entering through the door with his bandits. "No pirates today? Smells better. We were in the area, so we stopped by." Higama and his band of bandits all sat on the tables and made themselves at home. He slammed his hand on the table. "What are you waiting for?" "We're customers." "Service drinks." And as time passed on, Makino arrives at the mayor's office and opens the door.
"Mayor, we've got a problem."
"What's wrong, Makino?"
"It's Luffy and the mountain bandits."
Outside, in the middle of the street, Higama and the bandits have Luffy surrounded. "You've got a strange body, boy. Our punches and kicks aren't hurting you at all."
"Hey,"
the townspeople said,
"we gotta go help Luffy."
"Are you crazy? Those mountain bandits would kill us. Besides, Luffy's the one that started the fight." Which is true, because as he's held up by Higama, they stretch his cheek out.
"Darn you, you better take it back."
And Luffy throws a punch, but was dodged very easily. There sure are some weird creatures in the world, eh, rubber boy? And with Luffy's cheek and hand stretched out, he flipped the kid over and flung him across the ground. The sound of boing boing from his rubbery body made him go oof. Luffy sits back up.
"Darn you."
Higama looks down on him. "I've discovered a new life form." Luffy replies,
"I'll make you sorry for this."
With a stroke of his chin, Higama said, "Maybe I'll sell you to a freak show. I bet they'll pay good money." He smirked with a loud smile.
"Yeah!"
Luffy had picked up a giant stick and rushes at him. Higama merely lifts up his left leg and says, "You stubborn little brat." And with a straight stomp to the face, Higama pushed Luffy back to the ground and held him down. "I was just drinking and talking to my men. I didn't say anything to offend you."
"Yes, you did. You better apologize,"
Luffy said with Higama's foot on his face. Time still went by, and the townspeople spoke. "Curse that Luffy. Why do you have to pick a fight with those guys?"
"Move your foot,"
Luffy said, slamming his hand on the ground, tapping out.
"You stinking mountain ape."
And the mayor arrived, and he yelled, "Let the boy go! Please," he said politely. And all the mountain bandits looked right back at him. The mayor immediately dropped to his knees, prostrate into a bow. "I don't know what Luffy did, and I have no intention of fighting you people. But if it's money you want, you get it. Just don't hurt the boy." Luffy looked back, with the foot still pinned onto his head.
"Mayor."
And Higama looked down at the old man. "Nice try, old man. You know how the world works." He stroked his chin with a big grin. "But I'm afraid it's too late. No one can save this brat now. He's done the unpardonable. He attacked me." And he quickly stomped on Luffy 2 more times. And he called me names. I can't take that from this little rubber-spined freak. He pressing his foot down onto Luffy's face.
"You started this, bandit,"
Luffy said.
"You mountain macaque." "Luffy,"
Makina said. As the boy continued to stay pinned down. "Please forgive him," said the mayor. "That does it. I'm not gonna sell you. I'm gonna kill you." To which Higama unsheaths his sword. And suddenly, Shanks appeared beside Makina and the mayor. "Nobody came to greet us at the harbor. I was wondering what was going on. The Straw Hat Pirate arrived. Oh, it's you mountain bandits again, he said with a smile. As Makino and the mayor stepped aside. Captain Shanks, Makino said. Luffy, Shanks said. I thought your punch was as powerful as a pistol.
Hmm.
Luffy said with the foot still pressing down his face.
Not now, Captain.
Higama looked back at Shanks and spoke. You pirates are still here? Taking a break from your cleaning duties? Shanks starts approaching them. I don't know what you want, but you better back up before you get hurt, said Higama. Come any closer and we'll have to kill you, cowards.
Hmm.
One of Higama's men drew a gun to Shanks' head.
Didn't you hear him? Don't come any closer.
And the sound of the click of the hammer made Shanks pause.
Or I'll blow your head off. Ha 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 ha.
And the mountain crew laughs. And Shanks just merely turned his eyes towards the bandit and said, You're putting your life on the line by pointing that at me? The bandit replied, What are you talking about? Shanks pointed at the gun. It's not safe. I'm saying it's not safe to point guns. And suddenly the sound of a boom from another gun struck the bandit in the head, and the bandit collapsed to the ground. And once he landed, the mountain bandit screamed,
What?
The mayor's mouth gaped open. Akino covered her face. Luffy just stared out as the foot continued to press down onto him. The bandit screamed out, Now you've gone and done it. What you done? That wasn't fair. To which the pirates replied back, Fair? Stop whining, landlubbers. You're not dealing with saints here.
We're pirates.
And we don't play by the rules, said Shanks. The bandit replies,
This was none of your business.
And Shanks merely put his arm on his hip. Listen up. You can pour drinks on me. You can throw food at me. You can even spit on me. I'll just laugh that stuff off. But, and his eyes immediately scowled. Good reason or not, nobody hurts a friend of mine. Luffy quietly says, Fred? And Higama laughs out loud. Ha ha ha. Nice speech, very intimidating. Higama points at Shanks. You pirates spend your time floating around your little ships, and you think you can stand up to mountain bandits? Don't make me laugh. Kill them! And the bandits screamed, drawing their swords and their weapons. And with one loud yell, they screamed, Die! And the first mate holds a rifle up. Captain, I'll take care of this. Shanks stepped aside. First mate lowers his cigarette and immediately rams it into one of the bandits' face, putting it out. His sword missed the first mate's arm. He falls back screaming in pain, and the first mate says, Next. Winding up his rifle like a bat, the bandits screamed one more time, Yeah! And the first mate swung his rifle with a whack. Then aimed his gun with the hammer pulled back. Click. He lights his cigarette once more and says, You were saying something about mountain bandits and pirates? If you want to fight us, he said with his gun aimed at Higama, his entire crew laid out on the ground, pain, suffering. You better bring a battleship. Luffy just stared out with a reply. Wow, he's strong. The mayor's mouth still agape. Makino says, Wow. Higama says, But the brat started it. Shanks replies, Doesn't matter. There's a price on your head here, isn't there? Higama realized what has happened. And with one swing of the arm, he throws a smoke bomb that goes poof. Shanks and the crew cover their eyes and screams, "Smoke bomb!" And Higuma yells out, "Come here, kid."
Hey, let go,
Luffy said. And when the dust settled, they were all gone.
Luffy! Oh no, let him escape. We've got to save Luffy,
Shanks said, to which his crewmate replies, "Calm down, Captain. We'll all go out and look for him. We'll find him." The first mate said, "Captain?" And they sailed the ship out to sea. "Ha ha ha ha," Higuma said. "What a brilliant escape. And nobody would ever expect a mountain bandit to hide out at sea. I brought you along as hostage, but I no longer have a use for you," Higuma said, standing tall on the boat, looking down at Luffy. "I've already killed 56 people who were foolish enough to make me mad. What's one more?" And Luffy throws a punch right off the bat. "You die!" But Higuma dodged and said, "Tisk tisk. Goodbye." With a light punt, Luffy's kicked overboard into the water. The kid cursed and yells out, "Jerk." His reply was, "Brat."
That guy is scum. I didn't even get one punch in, darn it,
said Luffy. Higuma laughs. He laughs out loud with his team of bandits.
You see the look on those pirate faces? I broke the bottle over his head, not one word of protest. How pathetic.
They continue to laugh. Higuma with glass in hand, ready to sip. "Cowards like that man make me sick. I wanted to kill him." He planted a glass back onto the table. "Pirates are all talk." To which Luffy replied,
"Take that back."
"Huh?"
"Take back what you said about Shanks. He's not a coward."
Makino used as much power to restrain Luffy and told him, "Stop." Luffy yells one more time,
"Stop talking bad about Shanks."
And in the present, Luffy lands into the water, struggling to float as Higuma laughs and laughs. Luffy ready to submerge into the water when he saw what came out of it. A giant serpent with a loud smile and teeth as sharp as knives rising up behind Higuma. When he turned around, his only response was, "What the?"
Ah!
And with a loud scream, the serpent chomped down and swallowed him whole. Then the serpent's eye turned its attention to Luffy, seeing the kid struggling to swim. "Yeah!" the kid screamed.
"Somebody help me, Glug."
And the serpent's mouth opened wide, its tongue stretching out. Luffy screams once more, just as it chomps down onto him, only to find that he had nothing in his mouth.
"Shanks!"
Luffy found himself in the arms of Shanks the pirate, keeping him afloat in the sea. Shanks let out a loud glare. "Get out of here." And the serpent looked back. Luffy is crying in tears, and Shanks' glare grew even stronger. And that was when the serpent realized the Straw Hat Pirate was not to be messed with. It immediately turned around and swam away. And as the Shanks and Luffy floated out in sea, Shanks consoled the crying child. "Luffy, I'm sorry. Makino told me what happened. You stood up for me. Hey, stop crying. You're a tough guy, remember?" "But," Luffy says, as his tears welled down his cheeks, "Shanks?"
"What about ya?"
And as Shanks patted the kid's head, his left arm bled, filling the sea with his blood. All to the sound of Luffy's scream. Shanks spoke. It's a small price to pay. Just an arm. I'm glad you're okay. Luffy screams one more time and lets out a wailing cry in the middle of the ocean. Luffy understood why Shanks wouldn't take him out to sea. The dangers of the sea were too great, and he was not yet strong enough. But most of all, Luffy realized what a great man Shanks was. He found to be just like him one day. And that day came. So, you won't be coming back to this village after this voyage? Luffy said. That's right, Shanks said, tugging onto his cloak, covering his missing arm. We've been using this harbor as a base of operations for a long time, maybe too long, he said as his crew continued to load up onto the ship. Are you sad? Yeah, I'm sad, Luffy said, but I won't ask you to take me with you. I decided to become a pirate on my own. With his arm on his hip and his tongue sticking out, Shanks said, it wouldn't do you any good. You're still too little. He pointed at Luffy. There's no way you can become a pirate. To which Luffy grips his hands into a fist and his large, giant teeth exposed.
Oh, yes, I will.
One day, I'll have a ship and a crew better than yours, he yelled out, catching the entire pirate crew's attention. And we'll have the biggest hoard of treasure in the world.
I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
Shanks' crew let out a smile. Shanks said, you're gonna be better than us, huh? And Shanks took his straw hat off. Well then, do me a favor. And he planted the straw hat onto Luffy's head. Keep this hat safe for me. This hat means a lot to me. He patted on Luffy's head. Promise that you'll give it back to me someday. As he starts walking back to his crew, he looked back one more time. When you've become a great pirate. And as he passed by his first mate, he listened. That kid's gonna make something of himself. Shanks replies, yeah. He acts just like I did when I was a kid. And with the flag flapping in the wind, Shanks yells out his commands.
Weigh the anchor! Raise the sails! We're off with the tide!
And as the entire village watched out as the ship leaves port, and Luffy wiping his tears, his adventure begins 10 years later from this very same spot. 10 years later. The sea calls at the port. The townspeople are all watching. The mayor with arms crossed, Makino with her hands on her hip. She says, well, he's finally out, setting out, eh, mayor? I'll miss that rascal. But if he does, said the mayor. But if he does become a pirate, says the mayor, he'll bring shame to the village. To which the townspeople replied, I never thought he'd really do it. The seagulls fly into the sky with their scream. Luffy slowly moving his boat across the sea all by himself. Wow, he said. It's a good day to set out to sea. The giant serpent emerged once more. This time it was angry. Whoa, Luffy said. Our local sea monster. Luffy looked back at him. Sorry I have to do this. And with a smile, he said, but here's an attack I've been perfecting since the last time we met. And as the serpent opened its mouth wide, Luffy pulled his arm back with a fist. Gum gum. Pistol. And his arm stretched out, connecting with the cheek of the serpent, pushing it back and folding its cheeks. The serpent flies into the air as Luffy's arm returns to him, and the serpent falls back into the sea. That's what you get, you darn fish. Luffy said with a pose. Luffy flexes his arm around. First things first, I've got to get a crew. I think about 10 men should do. And I'll need a pirate flag. And with a big giant smile, Luffy yells out, "Look out, world, here I come. I'm going to become the king of the pirates." Luffy's tiny boat floats on, his crew yet to be found. Luffy's great voyage of destiny has begun. End of chapter 1. One Piece. Luffy as a boy, first mate, pirate captain, red-haired Shanks. All right, that was chapter 1, everybody. That was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool. Very interesting, though, because I saw the live action One Piece, and this is a lot different opening from the first one. They really start you off from the very start, from the very beginning, Luffy's origins, whereas we get Luffy's origins in the live action version through a flashback, because we got introduced to. Did we get introduced to him? Yeah, we got introduced to him at the very start, and then he stumbles onto Kobe and Alvida, and that's when we started getting the flashbacks along the way throughout the first episode. So it's very interesting to see how it really begins. We see him before he got the gum fruit in that order, in that chronological order, leading all the way up to how he got the power, how Shanks lost his arm, what it meant to be a pirate, the dangers of being a pirate. And that's a key thing too, is that it did focus on the danger of being a pirate, and that actually stayed true in the live action. In live action, they really did express how dangerous it is, and Luffy learned a very valuable lesson about what's out there. And what was great about it is that they didn't just show mountain bandits, but they also showed monsters, just like in live action, and the world built. And so yeah, it starts off like that. It's very good. The characters are very delightful and colorful, very interesting. Shanks was pretty cool. Really like Shanks. That's actually a pretty cool shot there. Pretty cool drawing of the punch. It really conveys. I like how it conveys how much it can stretch out and how much power it truly has. It shows that Luffy had been training, and he did heed Shanks's advice and the lessons that he learned. The world build is pretty good. It starts off very simple. It started off by showing us a normal world. Establishes the goal, which is Jolly. Jolly. What's his name? Gold Roger. Sorry, I was about to say Jolly Roger. Shows that Gold Roger, has a piece of treasure out there, the titular One Piece, and that set the plot. And the plot is very simple too. It's it's going after the MacGuffin, basically, what is essentially a MacGuffin. And basically, they kept the rule. Oda kept the rules very simple. Saying he established what pirate life is like and everything. That there are, that there's some pirates that, like there's pirates that are self-aware of their jobs, and then not only that there's pirates, but there's also land bandits. So the dangers are not just exclusively piracy. And what's out in the sea, there's also the potential of land bandits. This is very good rule setting and world building. Shows that there are pirates that just enjoy freedom, and I'm sure along the way, there are pirates that are inherently evil, and then you got Luffy's pirates, who's got a whole different set of codes. Basically, we're seeing that there are different codes out there. Different codes of honor and dishonor and so on. Also established the wanted poster and how the wanted money works. Very simple, very straightforward, very quick. what's great is that there's a good lesson here being shown from Shanks, and that is that you don't have to fight every single battle. Not every single thing is a fight. You can still, you could walk away something meaningless as being splashed with alcohol. That there are, that there will come a time when fight really has to be done, like in the case here, where Higama has Luffy pinned down and is threatening his life, and that's when the fight really begins. That's when you really want to do when you want to really go into a fight, is when the life is imminent, not for something needless and cleanable like alcohol on a shirt. That's something that Higama doesn't understand, and it became his own undoing when he took his inexperience out to sea, and we actually got to see the true danger of the sea. And it's not even just so much the pirates itself, but the sea creatures. And this was a great way to establish that in the world lore, that there are sea creatures. If you have the right type of style, I guess, from what's been displayed here with Shanks, saying that he was able to stare down the serpent and chase them off. It does show that there are, varying degrees of power level and capabilities, but Shanks didn't go crazy over losing his arm. He just merely stared back, and his glare was enough to chase it out. And then we see another way of dealing with it, which is basically Luffy punching the serpent out of the way. So yeah, he got his first boat. He got his first boat. The rules of the world is very well established right here off the start. The gum fruit, aka the devil fruit, is a good start. The rule: if you eat the gum fruit, or what they call the devil fruit, there are other types of devil fruit as shown in the live action, but there are different types of devil fruit. And we get to see the first rule of the fruit, and that is that if you eat a devil fruit, you're gonna get a power. In this case, it's called the gum fruit, and it gave the power stretchiness. But it has a flaw, which was very, very good, a very, very good drawback, and one that really makes absolute sense, and that is that Luffy will sink into the sea because you're rubber, and rubber doesn't necessarily float, depending on what type of rubber. I guess the buoyancy, because his body is three-dimensional as opposed to, say, a rubber raft, designed like a boat. His body doesn't have the proper buoyancy. He's too heavy. He's one of those types. So it's very interesting. But that's a good flaw to have, and a very good characterization in which one has to overcome a natural flaw, which is now inherently a natural flaw of Monkey D. Luffy, and that is that he can't float. It's not that he can't swim, he can't float. That's the key thing that has to be understood. He cannot float, he sinks. So, yeah, this was a good start. I'm hoping I could get a chance to continue. So, comment down below, let me know what you think, if you, what you think about the world rules established so far in Chapter 1. And, and if you want more of this, yeah, I just want to hear what you all got to say. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. We're going to have to see what happens after this show, if I could be able to continue on or not. So fingers crossed I could be able to get the chance to do Chapter 2 and maybe furthermore down the line, because I do want to go through this whole adventure. We're talking 1,097 chapters here, and I would like to go through it all. Alright, so thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a good night, buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai.